Raj Parth Achievers. How are you tonight, Bimal?
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for having me in the show.
Always a pleasure. So, what is your law tonight?
It's the one law that does 1,000 other things.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's company culture. Now, many people think that, I have to be big. It's only for the big shots or large companies. No, company culture even starts even if you're a solopreneur, even if you're by yourself. Now, people may be shocked, like, okay, it's just me. How does that work when it's just me? That all starts with you because your company that is built from ground up, it starts with you and have you built and how you do your culture when you're running it by yourself and the values that you believe in. So company culture is a lot of different things, systems, processes, structure, organization, environment, science, influence, people, behavior, values. And you take a look at it, it's so many, it encompasses so many different areas. It's your purpose, it's your vision, it's your mission. It encounters every single aspect of your business, and people can actually start building their culture. I put the link bit.ly/, the culture builder. If you post that link, people can start building their culture at that link.
I
um,
love it. I love it. All right, so let's take a specific example. So, I'll just use laws of life as an example. So, culture, would that be such as my core values? Where do I begin in building the culture? Is that, I'm a big believer in respect, kindness, commitment to punctuality, professionalism, professional appearance. What are the core values or culture of Raj Parth Achievers?
So I have 10 core values, okay, and I can share some of those, but I'd like to answer your question first, which is, how where do you begin? How does laws of life begin, building their culture? And that is people like us do things like this. So think about that sentence, okay? Think about that sentence, and if you write it down, people like us do things like this, and underline each word. So the first word, people. Okay. Do I have the right people in the right seats? That's part of your company culture. Okay. Am I sitting in the right seat? Am I doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing? Am I doing everything that drives me nuts that I shouldn't be doing? You know, uh, people like us. Who is us? That is part of your core value. Who you are as a person, and it's not just core values, it's who you are as a character, who you are as an influence. Who are you as an experienced person coming to the platform, doing things. Doing means action. So what are some of the actions that you take? you know um, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? How is your reporting system? How is your accountability system? How is all that built? Things. What are the results you drive every day? And like
Ooh,
you think about it, so as you go, just breaking each part, each word of that sentence. When you break it apart, it tells you um, how you do things. And the last part is doing things like this. So that's your processes. So how are your processes structured? Now if you don't have processes, you're missing part of the culture. So your whole system, you can start with that sentence, people like us do things like this, and take it from there. So I'll share some of the core values, with us. We always rise above the expectations of self, which means that, we always go beyond our own expectations. That's one of the core values um, of Rajput. Then, we also fail fast, fail fast, fail often, fail forward and small. So we have a formula for failure. If we embrace failure, failure is part of your success, but we don't want to fail unless it meets one of these four categories.
wow. You even have a process on failure?
Yeah. Like failure is such a critical part of your success. And if you don't know how to fail successfully, like you can even fail successfully.
How do I want to hear more about this? This is literally fascinating. Tell me more.
Okay, so I'll give you some examples. Okay. But before that, give you one of the core values on rising our own expectations of self. I want to share a quick story about Elon Musk. He's my role model. He's the one I look up to and read about. Now, recent story about cars. We all know that cars have chips, problems with computer chips, right? And they're getting backed up. So a lot of the entire industry in the automobile is having problems with productions of cars. They have jacked up the prices. The demand is high and the supply is less. And consumers have to pay a much higher price. And on top of that, the sales have plummeted because they can't find labor. Now, these are all problems that the industry is facing. In the midst of all this, Tesla as a company sold more cars than it has ever sold in a quarter. Now, think about that, Blanca. Can you believe that that is possible when the entire industry is plummeting and they are on the opposite direction?
Mm.
So that happened because one of the reasons that happened is because Elon Musk said, "Yeah, we believe in our ability to figure things out and rise above the expectations of our own self," which is similar. So if you they built their own microchip and they wrote the program for those microchips and they built it all in house. They believed in their ability to figure things out. So if you think about that, that's what drove the company. So you can see how important culture is. Because of that culture, because of saying, hey, doesn't matter what problems we face, we gonna find a way to solve it. If the entire industry is looking to the outside to solve the problem, we're gonna figure out a way to solve it internally within us. If we don't know how to build a microchip or modify the microchip, we're going to learn it. If we don't know how to write the algorithm for it, we're going to learn. So those are so key factors of failure, like learning, and that's what can happen when you actually embrace and learn and how to fail successfully. So the four methods of failing successfully: fast, often, forward, and small. So fast, you have to define what is fast for you. For some, it may be a week. Some, it may be 3 months. Some, it may be 2 weeks. So, hey, we're going to try this system. We're going to try this idea. And if we fail in 2 weeks, that's fine. It's fast. We learn it. We're in and out. We're quick. We move on to the next idea. Often, which means that you're not trying one idea for 9 years and just stuck on that. And then after you fail, you put everything on the books and you put everything on the bet and then you lose everything, right? So that's failing very small, like one time. But if you fail often, like I'm going to fail 52 times in a year, all right, so you're failing every month. Okay. So, or even every week, 52 times is every week. So you say, okay, I'm going to try and, fail every week. Now, you don't want to fail with an intent to fail. That's not the attitude you want. You want to fail with, okay, am I failing often? Am I failing fast? And you want to fail with failing forward. So if you fail forward, meaning that, okay, am I moving forward if I fail? Okay. If I fail, am I going forward in my business? Am I going forward in my life? That's failing forward. You don't want to fail when you go backwards. Okay, if I fail in this, my business is going to go down several months, and I would be going backwards 4 steps instead of moving forward 4 steps. So you want to try and fail forward. Like, Elon Musk, okay, launching SpaceX is failing forward. He has never been into space, doesn't know. And he started in being PayPal in the credit industry. So a person who was in the credit industry, now going into cars, now going into space. So think about that. He's adaptive and learning in every single aspect. So are you failing forward and failing small? You define what's the dollar amount. What is small for you? Is it $1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million? What is small for you? And put that number and test it out and move forward.
I have to say those are very good strategies. It's because it is important to try new things, but not for indefinite periods of time.
Right.
To I think that's very, very, very. But when you say failing forward, can you give me an example of that?
So yeah, I just gave an example, like Elon Musk tried to launch SpaceX, right?
Right,
So
right.
that's same for now. We can also give examples of our own Rajput as a company trying to fail forward. So for example, we were never into grants, but we said, okay, we're going to try and test it out on how we can learn the skill of writing grants. When these pandemic relief came and everything, we were never into doing SBA reliefs and PPP, but we said we're going to try and do this SBA relief because this is a need for the moment and people need this right now. We're going to find a way to learn it and do it with the resources that we have. And we figured it out, did it, launched it within a week's time, got customers, got them funded in record time, and did everything possible that nobody else could do, and got customers the money they need and even getting their loans forgiven. In relation to that, hiring new employees, okay, this was something that we are failing forward. We never had that as a platform when we did, but talent acquisition is a whole new arm of business. Building customer lists, that's another arm that we added. That's again failing forward. So several examples within our own company where we consistently fail forward. And now we are adding a division for marketing where people can actually do a scorecard on their marketing, fill in the gaps, and we can outsource and build their funnels in record time, and get it done for them. So that's
Great.
all examples of failing forward.
Oh, I love it. That's absolutely fantastic. And tell us more about company culture. What are some other? How does creating culture help scale the business?
So culture, like I said, it goes around. It's a one thing that does several other things, right? So you think about systems, processes, people. So when you talk about how does culture help you scale, culture puts all hands on deck. It eliminates title. It brings cohesiveness. It brings people together. It builds a community, and it gets people engaged and motivated to do things that were never done before. It allows people to make leaps and think big and grow rich, but the problem is many people don't think big, or they haven't given the opportunity. It allows the company to share their vision, mission, and core values with everybody that they are working with. And it allows them to say, okay, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is where we want to go. Are you in? And once they're in, then you can make it happen. One of the things that I do when I go in companies and we talk about culture, I said, as of right now, everyone is fired. Now I'm going to rehire you, but you don't have a title. So so when we talk about that, we eliminate their title. Title is like, okay, puts people in a box, right? This is my title, this is not my job. I was not hired to do this. So as of right now, your title is gone. You no longer have a title. And then let's look at you as a human. Okay. And let's look at you as a human being. What is your true potential? What's your dream? What do you want to see accomplished? What are some of the skill sets that you're not seen? When you do that, and if you think, even if you have five people, I give you an example. Okay. You can get the work of 50 people from a team of five
Yeah.
if if you do it properly. Okay. And culture is one of the key dominant players in helping you do that. So that's where culture can help companies scale. And even people who are starting by themselves, building their own culture. How do I do things? What is my system? What is my process? What is my before unit? What is my during unit? When you build all those things, then you can delegate. Then you can give it to someone else. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. At the heart of, I think your number one law of business breakthrough is there has to be process, even in the art of culture, even in the design of preparing for failure. You must have process because without that, there's no infrastructure, no skeleton of the business.
Right. I mean, process everything. Put everything into a process. Everything is a process. Think about that. When you got
Yes,
birth, it was a process.
it truly, truly, without a doubt, for sure is. Well, I love it. I think we should all keep in mind the concept of company culture. You can visit bit.ly/ the culture builder and retrieve the tool to learn more about how you can start building your company culture. You can also follow Bimal Shah at Rajparth Achievers on Facebook and Instagram, and of course, LinkedIn. And Bimal, as always, speaking with you is always enlightening and highly educational. So thank you so much for your wisdom tonight.
Thank you very much, Blanca. And if it may, I quick story about a company last week. Just we had a great culture, and we shared the results. We were able to triple their sales just by improving the culture in the company, and doing things, differently, and everybody, and eliminating their titles. A lot of the things that I just discussed in the show. So it all immediately leads to a huge exponential result.
Well, that is amazing. I know my business is growing every day with your guidance. Highly recommend everyone to watch this show every week. It lights me up, it fires me up every week. So thanks for watching, everyone. And thanks again, Mamal.
Thank you, Blanca. Thank you very much. Make it a great day.
You too.